and get started, and then people will probably come in as we go along. So the purpose of today's meeting, what I'd like to achieve is find out how everyone's tracking with their validation calls and what help do you need to get them done, if any. And then also if anybody has any questions about sales pages. So that's kind of what I want to cover. Does anybody want to throw anything else into the mix? Sound good? Okay, cool. So let's start with validation calls. And I'd just like to know, I know that couple of you have done some, so let's hear from you and hear how it's going, what you've learned, what tips and tricks you've got to share, that kind of thing. Sylvie, do you want to kick us off?
Oh, yeah. Well, I did too, so it's not like I'm an expert or anything.
You're more of an expert than you were last week. Welcome, Monique.
I did, the first one was really hard. It was really, really tough.
Okay.
And but I did learn a lot. And I tried to do it with notes because I need some support to remember what I want to say. But I changed that now, and I'm using Keynotes on Mac, which would be a PowerPoint on the PC. So I did sort of a presentation, but it's actually my script. So all I have to do is click on the space bar, and it goes from slide to slide, and I put the computer like right under the phone right here. So it looks like I'm just looking down normally to read it, and that worked really well. I wasn't sure if I wasn't working on that for nothing, but no, it worked really well for me today. My second call was much more structured. It was much more beneficial. I got for the two calls, I got two yes, in the sense that they did say the program is great. And both said that they would want to know when the program will be offered. So
cool.
Yes, so that's two yeses, but no one is committed yet to actually buying the program.
Yeah, well, they're not supposed to, so that's fine. No. And what happened when you got to the big pricing question at the end?
Well, people really price low, I found. But when I kind of reinstated what was in the program, like you say 500 for 7 weeks, but there's two private lessons, two private coaching call, so those are not the cheapest thing, so when I kind of reminded them of the big chunk that came with the program, they kind of saw that it was worth more. But people price low. I have to admit, people price low.
Okay, so when you said, and what price would you put on this? Or when you got to the pricing question, what did they say?
They said upward of like their top was like 500.
Mm-hmm. And what did you price it at?
I priced it at I did price it at around 500 first, but I'm realizing now with what I had it's not enough. I had a lot of support, individual support, so there's no way that's a price that I can do all of that. So I'll have to up it for the next validation call. But I also realized that I needed to explain some things more so that they really understand what's involved and how much support they're actually getting, so that they see how involved I'm actually going to be in the program. And instead of saying that, because I was saying it's a 5 weeks program and then you have 2 private one-on-one coaching sessions and an extra week if you want to do it. So in total it's 8, but I kept saying it's a 5-week program, so that's bad. So I need to change the way I'm saying that to make it a 8 weeks program, because they divided the price in their head per week.
Yeah.
So
Excellent.
I learned that.
It sounds like you've learned quite a lot after just 2. So imagine we've got 5 left. Okay, yep. Excellent. I'm going to do kind of a group summary after we go through everybody who wants to talk about how they're going. Terry, would you like to tell us how you're tracking?
Sure. So I kind of call it 3.5 validation calls, because my first one was more, again, a friend of mine. I was just kind of throwing it out there and really didn't truly do it as a validation call. So 3 solid calls. I've been really surprised. So number one, kind of like Sylvie, the 3 solid calls at first kind of undershot in terms of the pricing. And I'll come back here to the pricing in just a second. My first call, I felt that I was trying not to be in sales mode because it's not supposed to be salesy, but in the back of my mind, I kept saying, this is more of a pre-sales call. It's somebody, and all 3 of these are people that 2 of them are people that I know. Uh, the first one, she thought everything sounded great. She's just ready for the program to roll out. And again, she undershot the price a little bit, but she followed back up and said, once I think about what you've offered, that you're actually underpricing. My second 2, which I did 2 of them yesterday, here's what was so interesting, and I posted it in the Facebook group. I completely kind of stripped my mind of this is a pre-sales call, and I went into it saying, even though I'm trying to validate some of my data and my program, I truly wanted to be a benefit to them in that moment, in that time that we had together. I wanted to do something where they saw how valuable I would be just in that time. And the call, so my first lesson was 30 minutes was certainly not enough for the call. Both of the calls ended up being about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes. But I really dug more into them and dug more into kind of what was going on in their life in terms of the challenges. And it was absolutely amazing because one of the women yesterday, she told me, she said, Terry, I've had probably 20 coaches easily. I have paid for 20 coaching programs. And she told me she said, the last program I did, and we actually had the same coach. She doesn't know I know this, but we had the same coach. This coach had like a 50-person group coaching thing. She said, I paid $99 a week for 12 weeks. She said, after the first 2 weeks, I got no value. She said, Terry, after talking to you, you uncovered something for me, even just in this call where I had been stuck, and you gave me my $1 million idea. And I mean, she was just floored. She could not believe it. And I couldn't believe either that it actually came out. And she said, I don't know what else you may be doing, what other, kind of business you may be running. But she said, you are anointed to do this. This is your lane. This is what you do. And I just was completely floored. And she went even so far because she herself is wanting to build a coaching program on financial literacy. She has a talk show. She has invited me. She said, before you launch, she said, I want you to come on my talk show so I can expose you to a different group of people. She is putting together a kind of a destination package, kind of like what do you call it? Like an intensive for people she's going to be coaching. And she's doing it like in Cabo and all of that. She said, Terry, I want you to be, she said, I'm only going to have maybe 2, but she said, I want you to be one of the kind of speakers, empowerment speakers for one of those days. Your vacation's covered. I mean, everything's covered, and whatever your price is, I'll build that into the price of the program. I mean, I'm just over here having a heart attack as she's saying this stuff. So it went really well. Now, what I got from her too, though, was another idea, because this coach she was talking about, she didn't get a lot from. That coach also did a 12-week program at $99 a week, like a certain amount down, maybe $149 down, $99 a week. And I'm thinking that I may add that weekly pricing option as well, because sometimes it just may be a little more palatable for some people to think, oh, if I just give up, some lattes and give up, dinner or whatever, it's $99 a week, may be a little more palatable. So I'm going to add that in. But my huge learning was truly try to be there for that person and disconnected myself from whatever they said. And when it got down to the pricing, I told them, I said, no right or wrong answer. I want to know from you. And I tried to paint a future self for them. So I kept talking about what their life would be like after this program. So trying to paint that picture of how much better, using their words though, of where they were trying to get, but how much better they would be. And those last 2 calls, again, it was a totally different dynamic than than that other call that I had last week. So.
Wow, that's incredible. Awesome. Renard's clapping. I'm clapping too. Okay, so thank you so much for sharing that with us. And the insights are just awesome too. Okay, let's see who else wants to talk, and then let's do a little bit of a debrief and acknowledgement round, I think. Let's see, Taquita is not doing them. Renard, can you drive and do this at the same time safely?
Yes, I can chew bubblegum and drive at the same time. So I'm actually going to be sending you something. I could not sleep last night, and I actually ended up staying up all night redoing the whole mud map, and also I had like this epiphany where everything clicked. All the systems, everything that I'm going to put someone through to the last detail, I have it, and I also went through the packages. I redid the packages. So my package, when I itemize everything, it's just under $16,000. And I did something a little bit different. I modified your spreadsheet. So I actually put on I calculated the hours that it would take for them to complete each task. And then, of course, how many sessions. All I did was just kind of combine it so it's a little bit easier. So now I can tell them, hey, look, we're going to be, you're going to invest approximately, let's say 50 hours or 60 hours worth of your time in here. And then I'm going to invest, approximately, 50 hours of my time. And, these are all the deliverables or the things that you're going to get out, as a result of it. It's just the way it's structured now, what is it? That package, it makes it so much easier to sell. And the price, like the 16,000, I don't even blink at it. I told my wife, she goes, well, what's your final number? I said it was like 15,900 something. She goes, oh my God, that's a lot. That's like, no, that's my price. That's like, I know what kind of value I'm going to deliver, and it's easy for me to see this vision now. And so I'm not hesitant. I was talking before about, like the 5,000 price range. And I'm like, no, my price is my price. This is what I feel good about. And then I said, when we do a pilot, we'll cut the price in half. I said, but after that, I feel comfortable being able to talk to the right people, because these are the people that I want to interact with anyway, not the folks that are hemming and hawing about, $500 or $1,000 here. Those, I don't want to talk to them. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't. So anyway, answer your question. You're going to ask me something.
I'm going to ask you something. So how many validation calls have you done?
4. So I reconnected with another person that I did a validation call with today after I modified my list, and now she's at the 12,000 mark.
Okay.
I paid $12,000 for this. I'm like, woohoo, yes, nice. And when her number changed, because before she was like, maybe like between $5,000 and $8,000. She was really comfortable with that. But after I told her the bonuses is what got her. The add-on, those little add-ons. And I listened to your video again about the marketing guy. You were like, I don't know about adding the extra bonuses. But then you said that the guy was telling you, hey, it complements the things that you're doing, but then also it could be something a little bit more advanced that you didn't have time to do before. And I'm like, I'll just throw this in there. And so that's what I said to her. I said, look, in addition to all that other stuff that you're getting, I'm actually going to throw in these things right here. I said, you're getting the retreat. You're going to get this action plan. I said, then you're going to have, you're going to have my personal phone number to connect with me, up to this point right here at this limit. And she goes, oh God, if I have that, then I'm good at 12,000.
Awesome. Okay, so let's see. So you said you stayed up all night in the last night revamping your mud map. So were you getting some feedback from your validation calls, or was this?
Yeah. So yes, I did. There was a breakdown in the program for me. The one that I was trying to offer. I was thinking, you know what? If I solve these problems, then they're, from an emotional standpoint, they'll be okay. No, they're not. Even though I helped two people, and I've been, talking with them, just doing coaching with them. Even though I resolved their issue, there's a regression back to it. They're kind of, regressing back to the old habits. And so I said, okay, that's a flaw in the program. I need to add a component where I can actually help people from an emotional standpoint, because there was no talk about any emotions. It was just, hey, let's get this stuff done, get it done. So when I added that component to it, it made the program actually more valuable. So that feedback, that I was getting from them certainly helped. And I was like, well, I'm just going to redo it. So that was it.
Awesome. Okay. Well, good job for calibrating, your interviewees and making that change and then getting that result. So what's your plan from here? Are you going to do 3 more validation calls?
Yes. I tomorrow, when I go to, there's some parents that that have their kids at my martial arts school. Very, very ideal clients, and they've already agreed to meet with me. So I'm going to meet with them tomorrow. I got about I already scheduled the appointment, so I'm going to meet with them tomorrow, go through everything again. But I feel like this is going to be a stronger offering now that I've recalibrated everything, as you would say, which I like. So that's tomorrow. So I'll knock out my 3 tomorrow. Tomorrow evening. Yeah.
Okay, so, and Terry had a good summary of her big insight, which was to get out of the pre-sales mode and just really connect. What was your biggest insight so far from the 4 that you did? Like your big takeaway, if you had to choose just the one big thing.
I would say owning everything. I know what kind of value I'm delivering, and I know that this program is going to change lives, because it's already done it, so being really comfortable with the program, and if you feel like it's worth $1 million, say it's worth $1 million. And that was the biggest thing for me. So as I'm talking with these people, they're constantly validating that I'm on the right path. And if they're feeling like this, I'm like, well, other people are feeling like this. And if they're shooting the numbers that that they're telling me, then I'm like, I'm on the right path. So, just really owning everything.
Okay. So I wrote down for you, like, own everything and see the value you're bringing into the world, basically.
Yes.
Cool. Okay. Thanks, Renard. Anik.
Thank you.
How are you going?
Everybody. Well, I'm doing fine. Well, here now for Belgium, it's a bit strange because the month of May are a lot of small weeks because we have a lot of holidays. And regarding the calls, I have booked 6 calls for next week.
Wow.
Because a lot of people are gone. But normally I promised them that Friday I would have booked everything. But I had so much work that Friday evening from 1, I had a mail. Oh, I'm still really interested. I really want to help you in your program. So I thought, wow, they really mean it. And that day I sent them all, okay, next week I will send you some schedules. If that works for you, we will plan then for next week the calls. So I was, with the pricing, it was feeling, is it okay, to put it out and think about that. So, but it was a good stretch, it was every time I'm digesting, I need to digest everything really to feel it. And once the feeling is aligned, then I don't care what people think. But I was surprised I posted in some international groups and some really regional groups. And I thought, okay, from the international, there will be more response. But in fact, it was more from the regional groups that I got response. And also one response on Instagram, somebody new who's following me. So I thought, wow, Instagram. So that was nice.
Cool. Okay, so
Fun
you haven't
compliment.
actually done one yet. They're all happening
Not
next
one.
week.
No.
But
No.
congratulations for having them all booked. Well done. How are you feeling in general? Do you have any questions about it or?
No, I used your format for the call with the 6 areas, and I revamped it for me with bullet points and visual, just not looking every time at my sheet, or point one, but just having an overview. So I put that with some highlights for me. That I exercised it for myself as if I was in a call, but it felt okay. I wanted to be in a conversation, and hearing the tips of all the others is helpful, like really being more centered on now and on them, really on them. I think that will help me more to forget also the price, because it's not about the price, because automatically you put it to the price. And I hate sales, so I don't like to be pushed or have things like that, but giving the total added value of what you're delivering and that you're wanting that transformation, I think I'll keep you every day posted next week.
Yay. Okay. Yeah, you're awesome with Facebook posts. So that's excellent. Yeah. And I find like when I do validation calls now, like it's just like I'm a painter standing at my easel, because it's like you're just approaching your art project and this is your new paint that you're trying out. And it's giving you all this new feedback about what you might need to change or weave into it just to make it actually more complete and more effective and more powerful. So, okay, I'd like everybody can come off mute, and I'd like to hear what insights came up from you. Anything you'd like to share? Anyone you'd like to congratulate? Just based on what you've heard from your peers so far. So, Terry.
I'd like to congratulate Renard for again owning his program and owning the pricing and not backing down from that, really knowing the value that you bring to the table and structure and being willing to go back and revamp everything because you can make it better. So that is awesome and that's cool. And I wanted to add one more insight I had was when I talked about the Facebook group, and just the dynamic of kind of the group coaching, because that's the program I'm going to do is group coaching. Everybody thought that was so valuable because they get to hear the feedback and input from other people. So I've learned to really kind of play the value of that up more as well.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah. This situation is so much more valuable than me just talking at you, for example, like for the whole course, like to hear other people's experience and what they're taking away. Because you guys all come up, you're all so good at what you do, and you're bringing new insights always to the table and contributing. And that's just so powerful. Okay, thank you, Terry. Anybody else have something they'd like to share, like to add, ask? Sylvie, and then Renard.
Okay, I just wanted to tell Terry that it's a great inspiration for me to see that you were able to turn a pre-sale call into really focusing on helping the other person during that call, even if it's something for us to make it about them. That's really something I'm gonna have to think about and see how I can try and do that in my next call.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Cool. Awesome, Sylvie. Okay, Renard.
I just wanted to recognize, Terry, I really enjoyed listening to you today talk about your experiences with your validation calls and your pre-sale calls. And, it was nice because I'm capturing these little pointers. And it seems like we're all thinking along the same lines, but you've made some needle-moving statements, and I'm like, got it. Nope, that will take it. And just because it's just going to make my life a million times easier, and I don't know how long it would have taken me to have that epiphany. So I appreciate you sharing your experiences, and I do agree that the group setting is very ideal because you can hear things that you normally wouldn't pick up from a one-on-one conversation. So thank you.
Yeah, cool. Anyone else have anything they'd like to ask, share, reflect on? Takeda, you've been really quiet. Anything you want to say?
Just everybody sounds like they're doing a great job. Keep up the good work.
Go to you, cheerleading. Okay. And Anik looks happy over there. Okay. So I guess what as far as the program structure goes, if you guys can be, let's see, we've got you've got 2 more lessons. No, let me back to, okay, so we're May 9th. In June, we're actually switching gears and you guys are going to go into marketing mode, okay? At the end of May, I'm going to introduce the whole marketing funnel and where we're headed so you understand the big picture and why we've designed the marketing strategy the way we have. So that's the very, very end of May, and then I'm going to hand you over to Michelle, and she'll start getting you doing videos like from day 1 in June. So that's where we're going. So what's left in this month is to finish up your validation calls and then to start looking at whether or not you want to do a sales page or not for your pilot, and then look at the onboarding, the client onboarding checklist that I'm going to give you. And that's basically the steps that someone needs to go through, but after they've said, okay, you know, when you're talking to them, yes, I want to buy it. And then everything that happens but between the okay and they start using, they actually start the program. Okay, so I've got a little checklist, and that's what this week's lesson will be all about. And then the final step is discovery call. So you actually are all ready for a sales conversation. So that's what we've got coming over in the rest of May, and then we go into marketing mode. Okay, so what comes up for you guys when I explain that timeline to you? How are you feeling? What questions do you have? Anything you'd like to share? Terry, and then Sylvie.
So, Benet, my question is, when we are thinking about our own timeline in terms of launching a program, and this may be something we're getting into in another lesson or two, but how far are we away from, say, an expected program, realistically a program start date? And how long should the program be marketed or promoted before we start? Because I've heard two schools of thoughts. I've heard some people, you know, not the one day only thing, but, you know, just kind of have it open for a week because people don't like to, you know, be interested, and it's 6 weeks before, you know, you start the program. So that's kind of my question of time frame of realistic launch and that sort of thing.
Okay. Let's see. There a couple of things came out for me. I'll just start and then I'll see where I end up. Okay. So when I launch, I give myself about 2 weeks. You want to keep it kind of compact because you're creating all this momentum, and it's kind of scary feeling that like I have to have this field filled by that day. But because you're waking up every day and you're saying, what am I going to do to fill this next spot today? And you do that every day for 14 days, you actually get quite far, especially if you already have a little bit of momentum in your business. Now, on the flip side, I'm working with Aaron and Keurig Ashley, and they run seasonal retreats. And they do what they call a Goals for the Soul workshop that they advertise on Facebook and Meetup, and they run that about a month and a half before their retreat. So they start selling tickets, and then they do the countdown of how many seats are left. So really, Terry, it depends. And then now, because a lot of momentum was created from this launch for the Academy for you guys, I did 2 weeks. And now it created so much interest, and then I had to turn people away. So there's already interest, even though the next one's not going to start until September. So I'm probably going to have a lot of people booked before I even officially launch. So yeah, so based on that, okay, the other piece of the puzzle I want to throw in there, and then I'm going to get you to feedback and think out loud through your process, because that's a brilliant question, and I'm sure that everybody else is having it, or having something similar. What is your plan for your pilot? When are you thinking? What exact day are you thinking of starting it? And then let's hear your strategy.
And for me, that's kind of what I've been thinking about, because the question, my ideal would probably be a beginning of the month. I think to me, it's the beginning of June is scary to think about that. So in my mind, I kind of said, well, maybe the 1st of July. But I was wondering, would a middle of June, you know, be bad? I don't know. Do you normally start a program the beginning of the month? Or
so how long is yours again?
12 weeks.
12 weeks. Yeah, I don't think it matters. You guys, what do you think? Would you start a program if it started the 15th of June? Does it make a difference to you if it's the 15th or the 1st?
I don't think it makes a difference. I would start a program in the middle of the month if it, if it was what I had ready and it was ready to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's fine. I mean, as a participant, like if I want the content, the start date really doesn't matter. That's my
Okay.
view.
Okay.
Okay, so you're looking at a launch. Okay, and so for like Sylvie, are you gonna road test with some one-on-one clients? Or are you gonna put together a group first for your pilot?
Yeah. Well, I'm like Renard. I rewrote my map. I rewrote my student journey. I rewrote all of it. I revamped it. I took some stuff out. I added a lot of support in. So I can't quite change the program, but it's now an 8-week program.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to start with a group because that's what I'm most comfortable with. I'm actually
Okay.
more comfortable in a group setting than on one-on-one.
Okay, and
But
is
I don't mind
anybody?
doing some.
Sorry, what was that, Sylvie? The last part.
I don't mind doing some one-on-one, but I couldn't see myself doing like 5 or 8 people one-on-one for
Right.
that. I don't remember how many weeks, but like 10 weeks or something. I couldn't imagine myself scheduling all that.
Mhm.
So I'd rather do a group and a shorter time.
Okay, cool. Is anybody doing road testing with one-on-one for their pilot first? Or is everybody going straight to a group? Anik, what are you thinking?
No.
Sorry, Renard?
Yes. I want to, there's some people that I want to do a one-on-one session with at a lower price point, just because I know that for me is going to be like the more expensive package if someone wants to talk to me. So I want to get my feet wet early on just to get any kinks out of the way. And then once all those kinks are out of the way, I refine it because I want to be completely refined by the time I get in front of someone who's saying, you know what, I want to work with you, and it's $20,000. I don't want to make these little mistakes. So I'm gonna kind of do it in parallel if possible, where I do one client on because my program's only 6 weeks, so I do one client, and then the rest of the time it's going to be group sessions right there. So I'm kind of running those in parallel there.
Okay.
Let's see how that
So
works out.
for your signature program, Renard, are you running a group with some kind of one-on-one time as one of your bonuses, or are you running one-on-one clients through your signature program and a group through your signature program? That's what I'm trying to get my head around.
Yeah, so that's where I was going to actually email you about that.
Yeah.
So I want to ultimately, like I said, the group program, there's 2 programs. There's a group one where, just like what you're running right now, we all meet up, we have our, conversations, and then they're allotted maybe a handful of one-on-one sessions.
Mm-hmm.
But then for the other people who say, you know what, I don't want to be a part of that, I just want to work with you exclusively, and I'll pay the premium, that right there. So I want to be set up for success for both of those price points.
Okay, and I'm doing that right now too. I'm running this group. There are a couple of people that missed the boat and they want me to fast track them through this one-on-one. So I'm doing that at a higher price. So yeah, that's a good model. Okay, cool. So you're running one-on-ones and groups at the same time. Okay, Aniks. Hello, Jay.
Well, for me, I have the group sessions, like I posted on Facebook. I created the 6 weeks. That's an easier budget, and then the 6 months. And like you said, I think 2 weeks ago, I put my evaluation on the 6 months. That's where I feel more attraction to, also for me and for the transformation I want to deliver.
Yeah.
So that will be my focus. But now with hearing Renard and yourself, I could also pop out a premium if somebody would like the same program, but on a one-on-one and maybe shorter or also in 6 weeks. So yes.
Okay, cool. So, but it looks like you're leaning towards a group too. Takeda, how about you?
I'm going to do the pilot with the group, but I'm more comfortable doing one-on-ones.
Okay. Okay. Well, I mean, if you all are going to pilot with a group, that's awesome. And then when you do one-on-ones, you know, you do charge a premium pretty much because they're getting that one-on-one time for you, and you have to think about your return on, you know, how much income you're bringing per hour of your time. So there. So Terry, you started off this wonderful discussion. Thank you. It's been awesome. So we got with you that you're thinking about launching your group in the middle of July.
June, either the middle of June or the 1st of July.
Oh, right. Okay, the middle of June or July. So, did any other questions or ideas come up after that sort of the round discussion?
It actually did, because I had kind of gone back and forth at first on the pilot piece, possibly moving it down to 8 weeks, for two reasons. One, just for me to, since it's a pilot, number one. Number two, to possibly bring that price point to right under $1,000. So I kind of go back
Renard, can you go on mute?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I was on mute.
You're thinking of bringing your price point down. Yeah.
For the pilot process, possibly again to get it right under, right at the $1,000 mark, or either coming up with a few one-on-one sessions, but where, it might be 3 one-on-one, a 3 package or a 4 package one-on-one session, but where it's not necessarily a big premium, but again, where it'd be kind of right under that $1,000 mark. So I don't know. That's something I'm kind of vacillating with.
Okay. Well, that sounds good. Jay, welcome to the call. What we're talking about is whether or not with your program you're going to go to a group or you're going to pilot with one-on-one clients first. Have you decided yet? You're on mute.
I think I'll be going one-on-one, just given the fact that I'm not getting a lot of responses to my queries. It will be, with lack of numbers, that it'll be hard for me to put together a group.
One-on-one. Okay. And that works really well too. I've liked that approach because it totally takes the stress off, and then you just work with each person as they come in. So that worked really well for me. But it's really, what floats your boat and what sounds exciting. A group for me just sounded way too scary up front.
I think what I found though when I was looking at assessment with groups, there's a better leverage, obviously, as most of us will know. And the other thing is that when people working in groups, it's for instance, for the program that I'm looking at, there are ways of teaming people up outside of calls, and I think that can be really powerful. And friendships can be born there and things like that. And it'll be one-on-one connection. So people in my program, people will be paid up to be accountability partners and seeing each other's blind spots, that sort of thing. I think group setting has that power where one-on-one is basically the coach will be doing that, heavy work.
Yeah, actually, and you raise an interesting point. I think we might have discussed this before. When I first launched this first iteration, which used to be called Next Generation Product Development for Coaches, like, I don't know, back in 2000 and something, 10 or 11, I used to assign everybody to accountability buddy. So if any of you want to be assigned to an accountability buddy, I'd be happy to help you pair up, or you can do it on the Facebook page. But then that means you just meet weekly for the duration of the program just to hold each other accountable. It works great. I have one team who has still been meeting. It's been 4 years later and they still meet because they got so much value and had such a bond friendship wise. And one of them was in Canada and one of them in the States. I don't think they've ever met face to face. Anyway, so it's a very powerful tool. Thank you, Jay, for bringing that up. Accountability buddies is really great. And then the matching, that's a different kind of thing. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to go back to, because all of you guys might want to just start mapping out the months, right? Because you're getting close to when you're gonna get to a launch, because you're actually ready. You can create your lessons and your material the week before you have to deliver it. Like you know this stuff, right? So it just depends on how much you want done before you launch, and that's really a personal choice. As far as tools go, I've given you in the all singing, all dancing spreadsheet I've given you, there's a lesson planner, and it basically walks you through format, which is the NLP model for how, no, it's the adult learning model of what kind of people we have. Are you guys familiar with that? Are you, I mean, I'll just do a quick recap of format. Well, I just got to draw a picture. Why, what, how. This is, it's kind of advanced stuff. And what if, but it's super easy. I just didn't want to use, when I used to teach this, I spent all the time teaching this, and I didn't spend the time teaching what we just did. And I found that when you focus on this as opposed to what you guys just did, you miss the mark. Okay, so here, this is important. When you're going to, I've got to put some numbers. When you're going to teach, what happens if you've got why people, you've got what people, you've got how people, and you've got what if people. And they go in that order. The why people tend to be CEOs and really busy people, and like they're the ones when you're doing a public, or you're doing presenting, they're like texting and they're on their phone because they're like already off. They're not present. They're just, off doing their next thing. They're why people. So for them, you've got to address straight away in your lesson, why is this thing I'm going to teach you so important to this transformation you've just invested in? So it's the number one slide. And usually in every presentation, I will plant the seed about why we're doing this thing first and why it links to you having a successful signature program that sells. And I always loop you guys back to that so that I kind of I actually skipped that bit. I don't know if anybody noticed, but I skipped it in the sales presentation one because I'm just like, oh, if you guys, in the sales page one. I don't know if anybody noticed. Anyway, so why is the absolute number one thing you got to address. And if you hook them there, they'll stay and they'll listen to the rest of the presentation. Okay, the next thing, and this is all in that spreadsheet, okay, is what. You have what people. And these people like statistics, definitions, facts, quotes, and those kind of things. They're like information people, and they want to know, okay, what is this? What is a sales page, Benet? What is the signature program? Who does signature programs? Why is a mastermind important? They want to know these kind of definitions. You've got to explain the thing you're going to teach. So does anybody have a topic that they're going to teach, they know they're going to teach as a lesson that we can use it as an example? Sylvie.
Well, I teach setting goals, planning goals, and reaching goals. So those are kind of
perfect. So in the what phase, what would you actually say about what are the definitions, stats, quotes that people would need to know to be able to do goal setting? Like just anything. Yeah.
Well, I could do stats. I can say that it's been studied that X amount of people will reach more their goal if you do the planning.
Oh my gosh. What person would just be like, oh, all over that? They'll love it. You'll light them up. So that's awesome. And you guys can come off mute. What else comes up with you? What stats, definitions would you teach if you're teaching a module on a lesson on goal setting? What other things could you throw in there in that what part of the quadrant? Anik. Did you
Well, I
have?
think that maybe with the what also study shows that to change your habits, you have to train your brain. And that's the tools that you're providing. That's the length of the program and things like that, where you support them to make that change.
Perfect. And that also has a little bit of why in it too, because it's like why we have to do this. So that's cool. And there can be a little bit of overlap. That's totally fine. Something really simple. Define what a goal is. You can say a goal is, one definition is a SMART goal. You could use that. Or you can use that in the how. Okay, so you guys, hopefully, are you getting the hang of it? Does that make sense? You got what people, got why people. Okay, and then the next one, 3. Next, I don't know why they draw it like this, but 1, 2, 3. You've got how people. And then they're the people that want to know the steps. How do I do it? They're usually quite kinesthetic, so they're feeling people, and they want to be able to experience it. So you've got to teach them how to do it. So to write a SMART goal is blah, 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 blah. These are the steps, and please go away and do it. So the how people, usually you've got to have an exercise, okay? and get them to write one, because once they've experienced it and they've felt it and they've had a kinesthetic experience of it, then they can do it and they get it and they're hooked. And how people are really patient, so they hang on till the very end. And then the last type of person, which used to be me, I've actually changed myself to a why person. I used to be a what if person. I was one of those annoying people in the audience that wanted to be the teacher's pet and wanted to ask all the smartest questions before they even spoke. You guys know those kind of people? They're really annoying. But what if, and it's like, honey, wait till the end of the presentation and we'll get that. We're getting there, right? So they're the what if people. And the what if people, it can be a bit tricky when you're doing a presentation and not to a live group, but in your mind's eye, you can say, what do my clients always ask me about goal setting? Like, what are the niggly questions that come up? And you'll get better and better at that each time you run your content. So that's basically, every time I jump into a PowerPoint presentation, I answer those questions. And I just want to do a share screen with you. Let me make sure I've got the right spreadsheet open. Hold on while I get the right screens going. Share screen.
Can I ask a question while you're getting your screen?
Yes, please. Go for it.
What about multiple courses? If you've got multiple courses going at the same time, how do you spread out launches for them? That kind of thing.
Okay, let's look at that in just a minute. Great question. I love it. That's a good what if question. So if I was when I update my presentations, I might consider adding Takita's and Terry's questions that you've been asking today in that what if spot, just as an example. Okay, let me get back to that, Takita. I just want to show you guys this lesson planner. Okay, can you guys see this okay? I wanted to make it a little bit bigger, but it's not cooperating. Okay, so you can see I've given you, so each one of these little, what do I call this? Tables is a whole, like so you don't have to start a lesson with a white page. It gives you those lead-in questions, and then you just put those into your PowerPoint, and before you know it, your lesson will be finished, okay? So, and look, it's going to map straight back to what I just showed you. Why is the lesson essential to the student's big transformation? Okay, so that's the why. What facts, stats, definitions does the student need to know about this topic before you get on to the how to do it steps? How can the student do it? What are the steps? And then last but not least, what exercises can you give your student so she can experience the learning and try it on for herself? So that basically will help you just quickly, like I can create a lesson for you guys in probably 2 or 3 hours because I just answer those and then it's done. Okay. I just want to, before we move on to Takita's question, does anybody have any questions about lesson planning? Because you guys might want to start doing this since we're moving to launch mode. Is that clear?
I love it. This is really, really good. It gives the focus that I needed. So I fell in love with this slide last night, or that tab last night. So it was good.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's so helpful. And one thing that I try to do is make sure you have like a big picture in the background in some of them, just so it's not all just words, and try to change some of the colors up. You guys would have seen that in my presentations. Make sure there's enough space, not too text heavy, like just general design stuff. All the design tips I gave you on the sales page video for a sales page, you can follow that for your PowerPoint presentations as well. And big bold pictures in the background with a simple text headline is really powerful and just makes it a little bit fun. And you making stupid faces, if that works with your personality, it can be fun too. Unless you all just think I'm completely insane because I do that. Which is okay, at least it's entertaining. Because we're entertainers as well as teachers. So, to make somebody laugh or to, do something a bit stupid and quirky, it can be a good thing to do. Okay, Sylvie, did you have a question?
It's just that I was wondering if we were going to go back to the timeline and how we feel about it.
The timeline.
Because that's where you started with Terry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're going back there. I kind of went on a tangent because I thought you guys are about to launch, and I actually don't teach much about this lesson planner stuff, and I wanted to throw it in, so I just did that. Yeah. So there you go. So let's get back to timeline. Terry, Takita, can you please ask your question again? With multiple courses.
my question was, if you have multiple courses that you're launching, do you recommend, how do you recommend doing that? Staggering the launch day? Is it okay to launch them at the same time? I don't want to overload people with,
Yeah.
I got this and I got that. So how would you recommend doing that?
Okay, I'd like to let other people contribute to this. I'll tell you what I do first. I don't stagger. I launch one thing at a time for the most part. Now, saying that, I do have upsell and downsell options. So I'll give you an example. I was talking to a woman yesterday and she got onto a discovery call because she wanted to work with me. I think she got in through the lead magnet for the academy or for successful signature program. So that's what I thought we were talking about. But when we started to talk, it was like, you're actually really far down the successful signature program path. You really know your ideal client. You've been piloting your work for, a year or two with one-on-ones anyway. So I ended up just selling her a VIP strategy session where I did a review of her mud map.
Okay.
So I just had a price point ready for somebody who just needed like an hour and a half with me, and I sold her that. And then in the back of my mind, I was like also thinking, okay, is she a good fit for my mastermind? So but I don't do launches because launches are pretty hardcore and you're taking discovery calls the whole time. You're talking to lots of people, and just doing those discovery calls really fills up your time, especially if you're doing other things in your business or you're working another job. Overlapping that is
If
overwhelming.
you're doing discovery calls, but because I'm not doing that on these, then
So, okay. So for your launch, you're not going to have a conversation with somebody, a sales conversation with them?
no.
You're just going to put a button on your page and then they're going to buy straight away.
Yes.
Okay. Well, yeah. It'll be interesting to see how that. Let's bring some other people out. Renard, what was that chuckle about?
I used to sell. I think that approach works if you have an established name. When I had my investment company and I sold investment courses and books, all I had to do once I built a presence is just create a sales page with a buy now button, and the orders would just come in because I was already tried and tested, and there was nothing. But when people are spending money nowadays, they want to know who are they talking to, what kind of value, and they want to kind of put a voice with the name. And so if someone's going to commit to you and listen and follow you for weeks on end and give you hundreds or thousands of dollars, I would think that they're going to want to, hey, let me just talk to this person, make sure that number one, they're still in business, and this website's not old, and they're just who knows, and number two, that they really are a good fit, and their beliefs or their values align with mine. I certainly would not. I would love to just sit there and kind of have like a turnkey, hey, just buy here and I don't have to talk to anyone. But at the price point that I'm at, I know that I'm going to have to shake a lot of hands, kiss some babies, and go on dates and whatever to win them over.
Yeah, the conversion rate. Takeda. Okay, I got a couple of things to add to that. The conversion rate when you get on the phone with somebody is dramatic, and that's why we're teaching in the academy the whole discovery call process strategy session to actually get on the phone, because it's actually the cheapest and most cost-effective way to get people into your signature program. Because we're looking for 10, 20 clients, just in loops over the year, as opposed to hundreds. That's a very different kind of a funnel, and it's a very different kind of an approach, and you'd have a lot more complex stuff behind the scenes, whereas we can simplify it if we get on the phone. Terry.
And I just have a question, Takeda. What's the reasoning that you wouldn't want to do the discovery calls and just want to have them?
Oh, that's a good question.
You have to remember, my niche is spiritual growth coaching. So the people that are coming to me that I'm attracting anyway, that know what I'm doing and what I'm offering and the transformation they're going to get, like, I'll give you an example. One of the girls that I talked to, because what I do is so effective in a discovery call, I lost a client because in 30 minutes with her, I was able to transform her life to the point where she was out of bed, she's productive at work, and that was in just a discovery call. And so my thought process is these people already know what I do. And so if I've set up my sales page, if I add a video, on the sales page, which a lot of my coaching friends have done, explaining what the process is, what it is I'm offering, the bullet points, this is what you're going to get, and they get me in the video. So on the sales page, they're going to get a video of me. Hi, I'm Takeda. This is what I'm offering, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to do a 7-day challenge even before it starts. So they'll get that engagement. And that's just my reasoning for my niche. That's what the people that I did the surveys with, they're not the kind, when you start calling them back, the questions that I ask are too personal for them to want to, what am I trying to say? Like to go into that would be a second, all the answers that they gave about what things they need to concentrate on or what areas in their spiritual walk they're having difficulties with. That's a session by itself. So that would be a piece that I'm giving for free, basically, when they can get that as an incentive or as a gift or a discount if they go ahead and just buy the program.
Now, so a question and then a follow-up thought quickly. So the initial pilot, is it going to be all natural market, all people who already know Takeda?
Yes and no. I have about 8,000 people in one market that know me and that will, all that. And then I've got a brand new market of people that I haven't even marketed to. I'm going to do both.
Okay. And here's my last thought, because I heard this more. I was listening to a podcast today and I heard a coach say this and I wrote it down because I thought it was so powerful. He said, give your best stuff away for free. And I don't totally agree with that, but he said, give your best stuff away for free and people will pay you for the guidance and support. So to me, if you position the guidance and support, I can give you all the advice in the world. And like the one you said that kind of got away, it could be sister. Yes, you see this transformation just on our initial discovery call, but I am here to be your accountability to make sure day in, day out that you're able to continue with that transformation and to provide the guidance. That's what they're paying for, to me.
Yeah, and I did all of that. I did that, and we got to the pricing and all of that, and how much would you, pay, or what do you think this is worth? I gave her my price, which is what I normally do. And then they start the wheels turning. Well, I got to find money here. I got to find money there, which is what we all do, and I understand that. And I always make it affordable for them, however they want to pay it. If they want to do half, if they want to do a deposit and payments over time, I always make it, affordable for the client.
I just want to add something, because I had a list of maybe about 5,000 when I took my first pilot of next generation product development for coaches out to market, and I've been blogging and doing selling my templates and stuff for a year or two. So I had a reasonable list. I had a market that knew me, trusted me, that liked me. And the first time I launched my pilot, I sent out one email and I sold out in 24 hours. So it's totally possible, if you've already got that following, to do that. And if you can do that, that's great. What the Academy's been designed for and what the marketing approach we're doing here has been designed for is for coaches who don't necessarily have that following, and they want to basically set up a funnel that every time they pump some money into their Facebook ads, they can get their 20 clients and then close. And then just repeat and rinse over and over. So that's the strategy that we're teaching. If you're a pilot and you've got people already filled, I mean, Grady's in a really similar situation. He's got 20 clients signed up. He doesn't, I need to have a conversation with them. Yeah. So if you can do it, that's so awesome, Takeda. Perfectly cool. With regard to coming back to your original question, which was launching multiple programs at the same time, have you had any movement on that thought based on just the discussion that's happened, or is any other questions? Where are you sitting now?
I think the issue for me was I already have a book. And so I needed the program that goes along with the book. And so that was always in the back of my mind. So while I was doing the signature program, I've also been doing the program that needs to go along with the book. So that's where I'm like, okay, which one do I launch first? Do I launch them both at the same time? Do I leave some time in between? So.
Okay. And that sounds like a pretty unique situation to be in. For me, I mean, I think it would just, Anique wants to say something. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought what came in for me is that she has so much. It's like a menu. Why you would put all that food on one table? They cannot eat it all.
Yeah. And I think that's something I heard in your language when you first spoke. You know, you didn't want to overwhelm your audience with options, and I think it's a really good point. And another angle to look at it, Takeda, is, you know, juggling your current job. Like, look at your time frame. Like, what's realistic for you? What can you personally handle without like pulling your hair out? So I'm
already there, girlfriend. We already passed that.
You're right. Your hair looks so nice. So, because seriously, like my 2-week launch window for this, that was so intense. And, but then I knew that after those 2 weeks, it would settle down for 6 months, because I have a 6-month window that I'm locked into now. So, but I really planned that, and I planned my life around it. So, seriously, like, I would get, if you've got a year planner, you know, I love paper calendars, but here's my year planner. And I've just marked off, you know, all the school holidays and my travel. And then I've circled all the academy days. So I know when things on it. And I just sort of look at that and go, okay, how does my soul feel, you know, to manage all, like, because really that is the number one thing we're doing. These are lifestyle businesses, you know, as well. So that might be a good way to flip it, because that might just give you an answer without having to intellectualize it too much. Does anybody have anything they want to add to that about multiple launches? Sylvie.
No.
Sorry, Sylvie, and then Renard.
I just wanted to ask Takeda, will that be a running program all year long, or how many times would you launch the one program throughout the year?
Once I launch it, it would just be running year round.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's something else, because if you have something running all year round, then you have something else. It's like I would wait to start the second one just to get going, get settled in the first one.
Right. Now, mind you, I'm not going to have only one of them will have the, what am I trying to say? The online piece. You know, most of my courses will be self-sufficient. They'll be running themselves. I won't be a part of it. I'll be doing the pilots to get the interest and the spark, but they'll be, you know, when they look at my site, hey, this, you know, this looks good to me. I'm going to click it. I'm going to pay for the program, and it's going to just kind of auto run itself.
Okay, I get it now.
If you have a completely passive income product, that's a little bit different. Still, you need to create that energy and that magnetism and generate the buzz around that product. So you want to alternate, you know, because you want your audience to go into one or another. Let me give you a case study of this Aaron and Keurig Ashley. They're success coaches and mindfulness and meditation, and they're a couple who's a team. And what they do is they will run their half-day workshop, and I think it's like $10 or something, just to goals for the soul, right? Get you all pumped, get you exposed to the way they teach, and then their upsell at that is to go buy into the retreat, which is like $1,000 for 3 days. And then the upsell from the retreat is to get into a group coaching, which is $13,000 for the year. And then there's already a waiting list for his one-on-one clients, but that's $27,000 for the year. And then he only has a limited number, so you have to get on the waiting list, and it's like a 3-month waiting list. Okay.
I like that.
Yeah, so it's that workshop, then the retreat, and it's kind of like it's they're funneling people. Then there's the upsell, and then a month later they offer a downsell, which is a mastermind group that I'm actually running for them, and it's like $1,000 program where they just come together and get to mastermind and workshop and integrate some of the life coaching skill stuff that they learn.
Okay.
So, but they wait on that offer a month after because they want to get as many people as they can into that $13,000 program first.
Got it.
Yeah. So think about it like that. And I think really I would just map out the year and map out what your flow is and think about, like we have the student's journey, and that's like the detailed thing of how your students go through the course, but you could map it on a greater scale, like how their journey is with Takeda and what makes the most sense from a business perspective and also from a transformation perspective.
Right.
Like
Okay.
Curix people are going to get the biggest transformation if they actually come in and work directly with him. And then some of them just aren't ready yet, and they start to realize that, and he realizes that. So eventually they tailor them off into this other group, but it keeps them in his tribe. And then down the track, as they get better and better and more successful, then they'll be ready to launch a bigger program. So there is this movement of how to keep people in so it's awesome. It's awesome that you've got such a sophisticated ecosystem already forming for your company. So congratulations, Takeda. Okay. I know Sylvie wanted to talk about, Renard, did you want to say something before we leave this?
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Oh yeah. Loud and clear.
Oh, can you hear? Okay. All right. Sorry. So when we talk about the launches, so during the day, I don't know how many other people work regular 9-to-5 jobs, but my goal is to pretty much be finished by the end of this year. I have to fulfill my contract for the end of this year with the bank, but after that, I want to make the coaching my full-time business. So when we talk about the discovery call, do you have any advice or suggestions on how I might be able to basically run, market the business, but then still be accommodating to, the discovery process? Because I'm very limited on the timing, considering, hey, I launched this, and then people start calling. Sorry, I can't get back to you until after 5 o'clock.
Yeah, I think what Terry did with having Terry, what calendar system did you use? I don't know if you're still there. But just having a scheduling tool that you can just send them a link to, so they self-book, and then that's instant and it's automated.
I'm with you. Okay, cool.
Because then it's in their calendar. I know I use Calendly, and if you pay their $20 a month fee, then that actually turns on auto reminders. That's worth investing in. I found that the show up rate for calls is much better when they get those auto reminders, but then it's done. All you do is send them the link, they book their spot, they get the reminder, you show up on the Zoom call, you paste in there your Zoom link so they can join you. Done.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you.
That's how I'd handle that. Cool. Great questions, guys. See, this is all the good what if. This is like gold for me the next time I enhance my lessons. Okay. Sylvie, let's go back to you because I think you wanted to, did you have something else you wanted to say before we get to timelines?
No.
Okay. So what timeline are you thinking about for your launch?
Well, that's what I was going to talk about, because when you asked us if how we were doing, and I feel like I'm behind because I'm not done with the validation calls, and the launch page won't be done like until probably 2 weeks later, and we'll already be in marketing. So I feel like I'm behind in the timeline of the course. So I'm not sure.
Well, first, let me set your mind at ease because you're not behind. It's only May 9th, right? And I don't know who's watched the sales page video. Let's see, show of hands. You've watched it, and did you see the first thing is, are you going to have a sales page or not? Right. So really, you don't have to have one. I launched this pilot with no sales page. I just sent an email. So there are ways you can cut corners depending on what your scheduling is. So you still have 3 more weeks to get through all of your calls, and you'll learn the sales page process, you'll learn the onboarding process, and you'll learn the discovery process. But you can choose to implement that in your business whenever you want to fit with your launch time frame, right? So what might be happening is you might have let's say, your signature program happening on one stream. So this is the top, your signature program's happening here. And then you also are starting your marketing component, and they're actually kind of two projects that you're working on simultaneously. That's totally fine. Like, I'm always working on marketing, and then I'm always working on content development too. So it's good training for your brain, because it will keep happening that way.
Yeah, but I want the piece on marketing because before I would launch, because I want to know how to market.
Yes. Okay. So, what could work really well in your situation, since you've got already you've done your 2 validation calls, and they both said, call me back when you're ready, is start with those people. You start with the people that are the closest to you. And if you launch a group with 2 people, 3 people, 1 person, 5 people, it doesn't matter. It's still a great pilot, and they all know it's a pilot. And then you can be running that and then working on your marketing at the same time. That's what I would suggest you do. Even if you just get started with 1, I would do it, because you're road testing and you're going to be really present and connected to what you're doing, and it'll feed beautifully into the marketing piece that we do. And the marketing funnel that we're going to be building will be something that you'll be reusing for years to come, you know. So, you know, we're going to be spending 4 months on it. So you probably want to start running your pilot and road testing that sooner, while you're building up that piece with people that you're getting from your validation calls. Okay.
Do you know what funnel you'll be using?
Yeah. Well, the funnel is, let's see, how can I explain it? We're jumping the gun here. This is what I'm going to be introducing to you all on the end of the month.
I just wanted to know if it was like ClickFunnels or Webinar
Oh, right.
Jam.
You can use whatever technology you want. What I've found is when I try to force my students to use something that nobody does, like, you know, there's always going to be somebody who wants to use this or that. So I'm like, we're just going to teach you the strategy and the right pieces that you can plug into any funnel.
Okay.
So you can use whatever tool you want. Okay, good. That was a simpler question than I was expecting. Okay, Sylvie.
Yeah, I have I have a what do we call that? I'm not sure that the summer is the best time to launch, because the kids are off school and people are at vacation, and so I'm thinking of waiting until the autumn. Yeah.
Anybody want to talk to that?
Same thing, Sylvie. That was my thought. That was like my thought behind asking about the double launch. I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, it's getting ready to be summertime. Are people going to be interested? Should I wait?
Okay, let's hear Jay, who has something to say. I can tell.
Well, I'm in Australia, so it's winter. I think any time is a good time, to be honest. Just go with it. Smash it.
Yeah. Anybody else want to add to that? Renard came on. No. Oh, Anik.
Yeah, I had the same question because I was looking through my whole package, and there is one moment where I want to put in a retreat, and then I was looking at places, contacts already had, and when would that be? Not too soon. I want it like in the middle to the end, so the people really have a treat and it's all together and really being empowered. And then I started looking at the time frame. I said, okay, if I want to go for the 6 months, it would be best July 1st, because then they have till the end of the year. In 2019, we can make up what are your goals for that year and really achieving them. So because I want to work on a new funnel, I have different emails, but I really want to reach out new people, totally fresh. It doesn't matter when I will start. In fact, there will always be excuses. And if they want you, they stick to the program. And if they are on holidays, well, on holidays they have Wi-Fi. And if they don't, well, then afterwards you could always offer, you know, like you did, 1 or 2 free calls to catch up again.
Yeah, really, everything is a story, you know. You can create your own story. Like, I have launched in Christmas, I've launched in summer, I've launched in winter. You know, I just launch when I launch. And like with the Academy, it's probably going to spread over Christmas, because I want to, you know, there are people who want to do it, and they want to do it so badly that we're going to just have 2 weeks off over Christmas. I'm just going to build it in. So yeah, I would just say it's your story. Create a story that's going to work for you, and really work on that the mindset and the self-talk around it. Because you can talk yourself into or out of anything. I don't know if anybody wants to add. See, we had Tia and Dwayne, we had a discussion about something. Oh, no, it's left me. I don't know if anything's coming up for you guys, but I feel like we talked about something really similar in our strategy session this week. Or was it this week? Last week? Never mind. If it's important, it'll come back. Great questions, guys. We've got about 10 minutes left. Is there anything you guys want to know, learn, ask about sales pages? That was.
Oh, Asia, no.
Go ahead, Sylvie. Okay.
Yeah, I have a burning question.
Okay, let's let Sylvie ask her burning question, and then we'll.
When you do the sales or the validation call, do you present the pilot price first, or the actual price you're gonna sell it later, or the value of the package? I was kind of thinking about that. Which is the best way? You're gonna say it depends, but is there like a way that makes more sense?
Okay, just ask that question very succinctly, and I want to get somebody who's already done a validation call to answer it for you.
Okay. How do you ask first? Do you tell them first your pilot price, or the price you're gonna sell it when it's the regular price, or the value of the package?
Okay, who would like to answer Sylvie? Renard.
So after this is what I've done the last two times. I tell them, I go through, I say, hey, listen, these are all the things that you're going to receive. This is the transformation that you're going to receive. And I said, the package is currently valued at $15,000. It's like, oh God. I was like, however, I said, because, and then when I do that, and then it makes it seem like they're getting a deal. I said, like, it's valued at $15,000. However, I'm going to be piloting this program for $4,997. For a limited time. And now all of a sudden it's like, my gosh, that's actually a great deal. Considering that the price is going to go up. And so I try to use a little bit of scarcity when I was talking about it, saying that it's $15,000 normally. I'm going to drop it down to $5,000 for the pilot, but then after this amount of time, it's going back to $15,000, and it was just like a no-brainer.
Yeah,
but I was very comfortable saying that.
Well, because you guys you've done that product creation spreadsheet and you've mapped it all, you see the value. Like, it's there. You've added up your hours. Like, they're getting massive value. Like, if I add up the value you guys get from this, I'm just like, holy shit, what was I thinking selling it for this price? But it's what got me off the ground and what worked for me at the time. So that's cool. And that's why I get you to itemize it out so you can actually talk about that value with such confidence. Okay, I remembered the thing I was going to say about my strategy session with Tia and Dwayne the other day. After you get through the pricing part of the question, they were like, what should our program name be? And they're kind of discussing between each other what their program name should be. That's a really good opportunity before you wrap up to get any of those final questions in. Just like, can I ask you just one more thing? Like, we're thinking about these two names. Does anything resonate with you? Or leave it open-ended. What would you call a program like this? And then when it comes back to timing, you could ask the similar question. Say, I was thinking about launching this here. What do those kind of dates mean to you? So that could be a good way to get some feedback since you're still in the validation call process, and so on. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Great questions. I'm loving all these questions, guys. Tia and Dwayne, we haven't heard much from you. Is there anything else, anything you want to ask, anything you need to know?
I'm sorry, Benet. I totally missed the entire call. I was with the client and couldn't get her done quick enough.
That's
so
why
I just joined about 10 minutes ago.
I know. I saw you come in. That's why we record them. I just wanted to check in with you and see if you had anything to ask. Okay.
I have a question.
Go, Dwayne.
So really fast, we did 2 validation calls. The only issue that I had, it was I grabbed a lot of information from it. The only issue that I had was the value that the price point that they put the program at. And I was talking to Atia, and we came up with the guys that I asked. They're younger, so I don't believe that they really have the full gist of the program. So one valued it at 400, and then one valued it at 1,200.
Okay.
So should we like try to reach more of a older client base, or should we just continue doing it how we're doing it?
Okay, can I ask one clarifying question before I want to let people answer this actually?
Okay.
What was your price point?
It was so it was between $14.95 and $19.95.
In 1995, and then you got 400 and 1,200.
400 and 1,200.
Okay, cool.
I
Anybody?
just did.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Really quickly, I just did another validation, but I wasn't able to speak with Dwayne about it. But I did a validation with my client who I was just doing, and she actually valued the program. She said she would do anywhere from $120 to $150 per week, per hour. So at that value, her price point would have came in at about $1,920 to $2,000.
Okay, cool. Okay, so guys, based on what you guys are hearing, the feedback from Atia and Dwayne, what's coming up for you? Sylvie?
I think if you're dealing with younger people that don't know the value of time, I think the best way is to teach them what it is. If they don't know how much a coach costs, you can just explain it to them that an hour with a coach is between, $100 and $1,000 an hour, and that way they can see how much it's worth if they don't know.
Yeah, cool. So weaving that into your discussion. And so what I'm hearing from Dwayne too is like, should we change our ideal client characteristics a little bit to have, to be like employed couples or something? Is that a correct interpretation, Dwayne, or do you want to change anything?
Yes, no, that was dead on.
Okay, cool. And I love the idea because, it sounds like Renard and even Terry, to some extent, were kind of teaching and training about pricing and really building on the value and explaining that really well. And you guys will hear that in the replay when you listen to this again. Renard or Terry or Anik, do you guys want to add anything into the mix for Atia and Dwayne? Terry's Anik.
Yeah, I think I understand the question, but I come from also holding me back for many years for, will I be good enough, or will I be program be good enough, and my trainings, etc. And I've done a lot of training, group trainings in company, and always sold them well. So we'll always have people who or cannot afford it. Then you could do something like a social pricing, but it's not your niche. It's because you really want to give them something. But for the rest, you're putting your work, your heart into it. And you also have to get your figures, your money to get your coaching done. With Binet, for example. So let them go and dig. If they want the transformation, well, it starts with that.
Yeah. Okay, so there's some good feedback. Anybody else? Renard, do you want to add anything into the mix? Okay. Nothing from Renard. So I think from the numbers you guys have given me, it's like you're actually hitting quite close to what you've got. Plus you're running a pilot, and there's a really good case for lowering your price a little bit for the first round. And I think I would just say keep going. I wouldn't say that the data is saying yes or no yet. You might find after talking to a couple of younger couples that they're not going to be able to ever afford us, so let's drop them. But I would do a couple more calls. And if you guys need to add more than 7, so you get that good mix of older people versus younger people, then go ahead and up your numbers and do a little bit more so that you can make that decision with confidence. Because I think, but just talking to one, you wouldn't want to leave them out just yet, because there are young professionals that have disposable income just as well as there are older people with disposable income, especially younger ones who are living at home. Okay, Let's see. I wanted to put out there for Jay's having a hard time getting his getting people interested in the validation calls for his singles. So I was wondering who knows a single person, you know, who wants this kind of transformation that Jay's program is offering, that they could ask to fill out to participate in Jay's validation calls. Does anybody know somebody who knows somebody? Would be happy to post it on their Facebook page, anything like that. I just want to see, because we were a great group here and we can probably help you. I know at least one person that would be perfect. Anik?
I think I have about 2 people.
2 people? Okay, cool. Anik, you have someone too?
Yeah, no, I saw his question that he didn't get any response.
Mhm.
So I thought, how would that come? And I noticed something that helped me through the years, and that people send me sometimes emails or whatever, is I went to look at his Facebook page, and when you look at it, nothing resonates with what he wants to do.
Okay. So people might be
So if
stalking
you could post some things about what you're busy with, what you're passionate about, maybe then the people would put the bridge between what you would like to put in the world, and also that's something that you're really living for, with codes or whatever, or hearts, or, you know, Cupidos, whatever. But people will always go and search you on Google.
Okay. I do and I don't sometimes. I don't have time to stalk people, but I'm a bit weird. Okay, Jay, come online, and because I want people to help you. I want you to get these validation calls booked. I know that between us, we can help you get those calls in, because you need to move this forward. So just come on and see what's coming up for you, please. And then we'll wrap up.
Well, I used, I was sort of hopeful that people who were interested to find out about the course, it was about 23 of them, would respond back. Surprisingly, I didn't hear much from them, so I'm not sure if it was the message, the way it was constructed, perhaps had something to do with it. And thank you for helping, Binay. What you sent me, I actually updated the posts that I put on the Facebook groups this morning, and just changed the verbiage. I've got a couple of friends that I already reached out actually while we were having this call, asking if they want to help.
Cool.
But yeah, I think other than that, I can't think of anything. The Facebook group, SurveyMonkey, and a handful of friends was my strategy. I don't have much beyond that, to be honest.
Okay. Well, Tia's got a couple. I've got one. Sylvie?
I just wanted to say that I did Instagram, and it worked pretty well.
Yeah, and you've got a good Instagram. His Instagram page is good, I would say.
Actually, it's a good idea. I will try that there. Though what I found with my Instagram as well, they sort of like a sleeper accounts. A lot of them, they every now and then they check in. But I may. Silly, how did you do that with yours? Did you put a post, or was it a story, or what did you?
Yeah, I put a post, and I put hashtags that were my target audience were gonna hang out on. So mine were people with fibromyalgia. So there was fibromyalgia, there was SPOONY, which is a term for people with chronic illness. Anything that my audience would hang out on, I put in the hashtag, and that's how I reached them. And when someone would follow me, when someone would comment or put a love on a like on the post, on any of my posts, I would go see their profile, and if their profile matched my perfect audience, I would DM them personally and ask.
Okay.
That's a good
I'll
strategy.
try that. I'll try that for a couple of days.
I've started liking everyone who joins all my groups, and following people who are a good follow match too. That's really powerful. My Facebook friends have just gone whoop because of the people joining my group. I get 10 a week, so that's been great. Cool. Okay, so how we're going to help Jay? Can you post what Jay sent me, what he put out to the universe in email, and then I just kind of rewrote it, trying to incorporate even more love and brightness and joy into it in my Binay way. And it sounds like it resonated with you, at least on some level. So that's cool. So if one way doesn't work, get some feedback from a friend, get some feedback from me, put the words out there again in a new way. The thing with social media especially is nobody sees everything because it's just like hit and miss. So you can post the same thing every day for a week, and probably people won't see it many times. So so just keep doing it. But Jay, I want to help you. So I'm just thinking the best way, what would be really cool, like Anik suggested, is if you could post something on your Facebook page itself. Is that an option for you? Or are you still kind of... Okay, you
No,
post
no,
something on the
it's
page
fine.
and then post something in our group that says, I put it on my page, guys, please go share this. Let us help you. Make it easy for us to help you. Okay. And I'll get that out today. I'm pretty sure I can convince my one friend, like this is his number one thing to work on, that to answer it. He would love to have a conversation with you. I'm sure he'll get so much value from it. So there's
Sounds
one.
good.
Okay.
Is
Any
he
other?
just doing?
Go ahead.
Jay, are you just doing men or is it women as well? Is it single women and single men, or?
Men and women. I think what originally happened with my Survey Monkey was more women who were responding. Guys were like, I think 9% of population in that survey. So I'm happy for both genders, to be honest.
Okay, so men and
Okay.
women.
Okay, because if he wants to just give me a time, then I can just have the 2 people that I know contact him. Or if he wants to contact them, I don't know how he wants to work that out, but
Okay,
I
so
do
you
have 2 people who I know.
Great. Jay, will you follow up with Atia? She's got 2
Yeah, no
people
problem at all.
ready to book in, and I think I've got one for you.
Devocative.
Okay,
Thanks,
and then
guys.
if
Much
you want to do
appreciated.
a share on your Facebook page and then encourage the group to then just distribute out, so we've got something that we can, link, make it easy for us, basically, then you might get more that way. Okay, so we're here to support each other. Let's end the meeting, guys. Thank you so much. We've covered so much. We've gone everywhere for, I hope, everybody who came in late, definitely watch the replay because we've covered everything today. I'd love to end with the acknowledgement round. Let's see, Sylvie, you help me decide. Should we acknowledge ourselves or someone in the group today?
Ourselves.
Okay, so everybody, I'd like you to acknowledge yourself, and I'd like you to also say what's the biggest takeaway you've got from this meeting. So there's 2 things that I'd like you to do. So Sylvie, would you kick us off, please?
Okay. I'd like to acknowledge myself because I am not a salesperson at all. It's not something I ever thought I would do, but switching my mindset around it has helped a lot. So I think I've done a lot of mindset work on that. And the one big takeaway, it's all a little bit here and there. I don't know. I have, of course, what you shared about the format, the why, what, how, and the why, what, how, and
what if.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, you'll love it. It'll make making lessons so easy. Awesome. Perfect. Thank you so much, Sylvie. Anik.
Well, I'm proud of myself because I'm sticking to it even if it's the night and I have a lot of things to do. But I see the progress. It helps me to align, to structure everything that I've been holding. And I really like what comes out of the group because it really feeds me also to change some tweaks. What I'm taking out is looking also for a premium for one-on-one to stretch that one, and focusing on the launch date.
Awesome. Okay. I'll check in with launch. We'll check in with launch dates at the next meeting, so because you guys will have been brewing on the back of your mind there. Jay.
Well, I would like to acknowledge the fact that I'm here today because I was sick for a few days. Just you guys familiar with Enneagram Style 7, and we tend to get involved with a lot of things, and I spread myself a bit too thin, so I ended up having a viral conjunctivitis and sick for a few days, staying home, sleeping 2 hours. So yeah, I'm glad to be back.
Thank you for being here, Jay. Okay, Dwayne.
Hello, I'd like to acknowledge myself for making the meeting. I didn't think I was going to make it, but I did. And then what I learned from, or what I took away from today's meeting, was not to just, because my mind was set on just saying, okay, the younger people is not for us. So I guess that was my best takeaway. Don't just throw them away because it was the first response that I wasn't looking for.
Cool. Great. Lucky for them.
I like to acknowledge myself for being able to get out of the fearful stage of talking about the program, even though it's not quite 100% prepared. With doing that, I was able to talk to one of my clients who I did not know was a sex therapist. So it actually worked out well because she's going to be the one who joins us in the program with doing the sex therapy portion of it. So being able to not be fearful about talking about the program actually helped me get something done. So I would like to acknowledge myself for that.
Awesome. Congratulations. You guys need to work out your pricing. Congratulations, Atia. Renard. You're on mute.
All right, there you go. So just acknowledge myself for just having the patience and courage to just hit Control-Alt-Delete on everything that I started from the beginning of this course and redoing everything over again. You know, it's better. I'm happier with it. And so everything I think is a work in progress. I'd say my biggest takeaway is that everything is a work in progress. You know, and you can always, it's an iterative process where you just keep developing as new information is brought in, and don't hold on to anything. Just keep it moving, keep evolving, keep changing, and recognize that there's never a perfect time for anything. Now is a perfect time for anything and everything. So I'm good now. I feel happy.
Awesome. I would like to acknowledge all of you for being the infinite creative being that you are, and just keep your art and creativity going. You're just, blowing my mind. Thank you. All right, that's a wrap, guys. Happy coaching.
See you, Vinay. See you, everyone.